The first question I was just gonna ask you was like, what was your name and your background of the sport?
My name is Jonathan Nadali. I'm the pitching coach here at San Jose JC. This is my second season doing so. Prior to that, I played 2 years here at San Jose JC, and then I got a scholarship to play Division I baseball out at Western Carolina University. After that, shortly after that, I started my coaching career at Cal State Northridge, Division I school in the Los Angeles area, the Big West Conference. And then I got a job offer to come up here, and that's where I've been until now.
The first question on this list is it more important to win or to develop players?
At this level, I think it's more important to win. At the college level, I think the better your team does, the more exposure your team does, especially at the junior college level. The Division Is, Twos, Threes, NAIAs, and so forth, they're going to want to look at teams that have quality players, but you can only have quality players by having a good team. So the better the team plays as a whole, the better individuals will play, and other individuals will play up to that level of competition. So I think winning, honestly, is probably better than just developing, hey, we have 2 or 3 really good players, and let's just make them as good as possible so they go to great schools.
Right.
That's not what we're about here. We're about winning championships, putting banners in that gym.
How do you prepare for a tough opponent?
Preparing for a tough opponent. I think we prepare for every opponent pretty much the same. Sometimes you got to have practices that are a little bit more game-like, a little bit more hostile, like a boot camp almost, if you will, especially out here with the heat and stuff. If we're preparing for a team such as Delta or a playoff opponent, there's a lot on the line. It's just a matter of first place. It's good to go, like win or go home kind of thing. So the practices, the preparation, we would have, as a pitching coach, we'd have very competitive bullpens, a lot of running, some game-like situations on the field, just to get you the blood pump and the heart rate. So when it comes time to play those games on the weekend, you're battle tested, you're ready to go.
So for us in baseball, how do you deal with inconsistent umpires?
From a young age, I was always taught there's only certain things in this game you can control. And as a pitcher, that's just throwing the ball. You can't control who's going to catch it, who's going to field it, who's going to call it a ball or a strike. The only thing you can control is, where you put it personally. When you're dealing with umpires like that, it's hard. I mean, a lot of them, every day there's going to be a different strike zone, but the beauty of the game is the strike zone. So if you have a pitcher that is known for throwing down, and on that day you have an umpire that calls it down, you're going to throw that guy. So it makes you kind of stay on your toes as a coach because you have to know, who to throw in that situation. But going back to your question about how you deal with them, it's difficult, but at the end of the day, you can give them a little bit. You can, be like, we're not agreeing with that. But you gotta stay on your toes because, they are in charge, so you kind of have to just bite your lip a little bit.
What are the rewards of coaching for you?
There's so many, on so many different levels, I just finished playing a couple years ago, and now that I'm fresh out, I feel like the rewards of being able to give back to guys that are right around my age. I played at this school. I know what it takes to be successful in this program and beyond. And just to watch guys, just do so as, a part of my pitching program and as part of this San Jose JC program, it's very rewarding. Being able to get a practice plan set up, have the guys execute it, and then they do it well in the game. It makes me feel good as a coach, but I'm even more proud of them as a player that they are coachable people. For later on in life when they want to get good jobs, they'll have families and so forth. They are people that can take criticism, positive and negative, and be able to, work hard and become the best they can be on and off the field. That's very rewarding to me.
Sounds good.
Is motivation and desire enough to make up for lack of athletic ability?
I think at this level and in professional sports, I think it is. You see stories all the time about teams, like mid-major teams in the NCAA tournament upsetting, being the Cinderella story. Obviously, those players aren't as good as the players of Kentucky, and even in the NBA or the NFL, there's some teams that always beat the team that's supposed to be the best every year. And that's because they buy in, they have a goal, and they just buy in and they all play to the level of what they're playing. They're playing up to the competition. And sometimes teams of that stature will play down because they think they have a cakewalk. But you know what? These guys are going to show up and they're going to beat you. That's the beauty of this game. It happens in baseball all the time. That's why you got to prepare well and you got to take every opponent and respect them the same, every single one.
How important is team goal setting at the beginning of the season?
I think it's the biggest thing. I think it's the reason why championship teams are championship teams. For example, when I played at Western Carolina, we were a very good regular season team in history's past, but we didn't have the postseason finish. So the whole goal since the first day of weights when I went back there my senior year, we were saying, we're going to crack the top 25 in the NCAA, and we're going to win a conference championship. And those were the two things that we said every day before we went on the field. We gave each other a high five or whatever. We wrote it on boards. We had it on shirts. We're doing it this year. We're going to be the big guys on campus. And we did, because every day you had a goal. There's two big goals you had, and you had a lot of baby goals that you had to meet along the way, which made you that much better because you knew what it took to build up to that goal. And at the end of the year, we did both of those things, and that's what we tell each other here. Since the first day of practice here, the pitching staff has always said state, just like just even if it's just one word, just to reassure yourself. That's why we're here. Obviously, to get a good education, go to class, get a good education, but also, we're here to win a championship. You're not here to, it's college sports. You're here to be as good as you possibly can on and off the field.
Yeah. On that subject, do you allow players to set goals for your team, or do you establish the team goals yourself?
I think it's good to do both. I think as a coaching staff, we obviously have same goals as some of the players do. We want to win a championship. We want to do this and that. But amongst themselves, they're going to have their own goals with each other. I think it's great for both people. I think you got to have a little bit of control over your team, so you establish goals that everyone needs to buy into. But of course, every different player is going to have their own goals that they want to do individually. Because on some level, baseball is an individual sport. But at the same time, like when you're at the plate, it's an individual act. So you can have a goal for that certain at bat or that part of your game. But it is a team goal in the end because you're going to win based on your individual performance. But all those individual performances added up together is a team performance. So I think it's good to have both.
Do you ever blame yourself for the team losing or performing poorly?
Yes and no. Yes, because if we lost because of a lack of preparation, then I will take complete blame on that as a coach, and as a coaching staff, we all would, for not preparing the players properly for the competition we were playing. On days where we prepare well, which every day here we do, every week, every day, it's repped out, timed out. At the end of the day, they are the guys that play the game, and it's good for 18 to 22-year-old men to take accountability for losing. You don't have to do the wrong thing to lose. You can do all the right things and still lose. But that doesn't mean that you're not a good player, you're not a good person. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the competition. I'll never have a problem with preparing a team well and losing because we put all the work in. If we lose, we lose. But you become better by losing. You know what it tastes like and you don't want to taste it again. So yes and no, to answer your question. I do take blame, and then on some days I don't because we're all in this together, so we all will take blame.
Would you say you lead by example?
I would say I do. Being a younger guy that just finished playing, like I said in our previous question, I lead by example. I like to preach to the guys. This is what it takes to do this, this, and that. I don't like to talk about myself. I lead by example by just showing respect to the players, and I get it back in return. I can joke with them when it's time to joke. How you guys doing? All that kind of stuff, and just joke around. But when it's time to get to work, it's time to get to work. That's the kind of player I was, and that's the kind of coach I'm going to be. I'm not going to be anybody that I'm not. I feel like, to get respect, you have to give it. So I lead by example in that sense that, I can relate to them, but also at the same time, it's time to get to work and, let's get something done here.
Every now and then you'll run into players that don't, really respect you as much as you should get and kind of question your authority. Do you believe in second chances?
Yes, I believe in second chances. Looking back on my career, I played with a lot of guys that were really immature, and almost every one, there was a light bulb that went on, whether it was too late or not, and then those guys would, become remorseful for their actions and apologize upon bended knee, wishing for forgiveness. I always believe in second chances. There's been a lot of players here that, have come to this program not good people. I wouldn't say not good people, just a little immature and just kind of went about their business the wrong way. But if you stay the course and you give people second chances, like this question asks, they become better men for it. The only way you're going to become better people is by learning from your mistakes. So depending on the severity of the mistake they made the first time, obviously I'm all about second chances. But if it's something that's monumental and it's just like something that's not acceptable by moral or ethical codes, then no. But in most cases, yes, I believe in second chances. Absolutely.
I don't think we have any further questions. Thank you for your time, Coach McGaughy.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.